Okay, good morning, everyone. We're so glad to have you with us here. We got our wonderful Mayor, Clint Lamb, and this is our final one. This is it. This is the granddaddy of them all.
Woo! The nature boy.
As the nature boy himself makes his entrance.
You know, I didn't plan on actually walking in today, John, but like you said earlier to the folks in Radio Land, why in the hell would this final episode be any different than the first? Bad word, sorry.
We're going to start the way we end the way we started.
Kinda, yeah. Exactly. We got a squirrel back there running on a wheel to keep the generator going for us to go. So,
sure
ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay here this morning. Obviously, these were this time actually technical difficulties with our Facebook provider and Droid and Apple and things like that. But hey, we're started. We're here. So thank you to the folks in Radio Land that was listening to John's opening monologue for the last hour and a half.
Unrehearsed, by the way.
Unrehearsed. Have we ever rehearsed anything on this show, for the matter? So yeah. First and foremost, welcome to the series finale of the First Friday Chat with the Mayor. John, as you were telling the folks in Radio Land earlier, it's been such a pleasure to do this show. It's been so much fun to do this show. So if you kind of want to repeat to the folks here in Facebook Land, kind of what we've done, this has been, we think, nearly a decade.
Yes, right. Because you've been in office 12 years at the end of this month, which is amazing. And I remember about 10 years ago, we got together and said, hey, how about if we do a show and let's tell people really what's going on? I want more than a...
Are you saying there was misinformation?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying we want a platform that I have more time to talk. And I said, Clint, I'll give you all the time you want. And I said, right before my party line show was a great time. And we started with only going from 8:30 to 9, then it went to 8:15, then went to 8 o'clock. Because as you became...
Today we'll have you out of here by 5. So hopefully you've taken the day off work. Hopefully you've got yourself a cup of coffee and ready to roll.
It'll be worth your time. But the thing was, is the longer you became mayor, more things were going on, more projects and everything. So the show got bigger and bigger, and it's been one of the best shows we've ever had.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, John, you mentioned it. What I loved about the show, we hope that it's been enlightening. We hope it's been informative. But it's also been therapeutic, to be quite frank with you, for myself, because so many times, you know, I always say, John, that we live in a world today that we have more access to information than any other time in the world's history. So we have the most information available to us, yet we are the most misinformed that we've ever been, or least informed we've ever been, and sometimes purposely driven to be misinformed. So what we always loved about the show is, and especially since it's gone Facebook Live, that it's archived, right? You can go back, you can see it. So folks on Radio Land can listen, folks on Facebook can be sure to tune in and watch, but we can actually talk things through. We've always encouraged comments, emails ahead of time, comments on the show. We've had some good comments and we've had some doozies, pop up over the years. But no, that's kind of the meaning of the show. And we hope that it's been enjoyable for everybody as well. So
we know not everybody agrees with what we may be talking about, but what is going on is what's going on. And so it's nothing to be made up or fabricated.
No, absolutely.
This is really what's going on. And that's why I love this show, Clint, was because if you're sitting there and you're wondering what's going on in our city, well, this is a place to find out.
You know, and it's funny, John, because you mentioned earlier on the radio that folks, not just here in Sullivan, but all over Sullivan County, the Wabash Valley, quite frankly, the whole country, people would come up to me and say, hey, my daughter from Texas called and said this was going on. And well, Mom, how the heck do you not know that, right? You live there. I watch First Friday Chat with the Mayor. So we've tried to make it enlightening, entertaining, and also interactive as well. So like you mentioned earlier, we've had a lot of guests on the show. We've had local guests. We've had guests from all around. We've had people promoting their local things, people from around the state. But John, I think today, in the grand finale here, might be our number one guest. You know, nothing against all the guests that haven't come and gone, but John, you know, the mayor's office, it can be very rewarding, but it can be very trying as well. And I wanted to make sure that somebody kept their promise, who always threatened, wanted to come onto the show, and she gets a monthly shout out, but definitely wanted to bring the First Lady of Sullivan to the show today.
Nice to have you, Jamie.
The person that gets to hear the First Friday Chat, only you all get to shut it off in an hour.
Yes.
And this gal.
Mine goes past 5.
Yeah, well, it definitely goes past 5. So yeah, she's always said she was, like I said, threatened to come on the show. So I just wanted to have her this morning. She's got to get out. She's got to get to work. Somebody's got to keep this family fortune rolling in, right? So to speak, right? So welcome to the show, Mrs. Lamb. You look lovely as always.
Thank you.
So pretty
Thank
and
you.
green,
Yes.
pretty in anything.
Yeah.
It's December.
It is December. It is December. So yeah, John, take it away.
Jamie, let's start with this question. I guess it's the most obvious question. What has it been like being the wife of the mayor? It has to be as challenging as being the mayor, I would assume.
Yeah, I would say it definitely has had its ups and downs over the years. Some on Facebook. But it's been very rewarding. We've been together now 9-ish years.
Oh, 9-ish years.
That's why I had to start the
So-
show. That was that therapeutic part.
Yeah.
Yes. So in the beginning, there's been its challenges, but I've had so many relationships that I've gained from initially working in the mayor's office to then just being the mayor's wife and being in the community. So for me, it's good and it's bad. I mean, it's a hard time to say goodbye to it, but I mean, we'll still be here. I get asked that question every day at the bank.
Okay.
So when are you moving?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not moving. We're still here. We still have kids here.
Yes.
And I love JD, very supportive of him. So no, it's bittersweet, I would say, but it's been a good time. I mean, it's not always easy being the mayor's wife, but we've
you-
handled it.
John, can you believe that?
I don't understand that at
Yeah,
all. I love
exactly.
this guy.
See?
But do you really get a chance as being the mayor's wife to enjoy the accomplishments? Because there's been so many great things that have happened under Clint. But do you get a chance to really enjoy it like we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I can say I've traveled, I've done all the things. I try to go to all the events that I can go to between work and the kids, but I'd say my eyes have opened up quite a bit over the past
Yes.
9 years.
Yeah.
with
One
everything.
of the things I'll never forget when we started dating,
Yeah.
and she was driving down the street one day in the middle of a rainstorm. And she said, she goes, never in my life till I started dating the mayor did I've drove in the rain hundreds of times, thousands of times maybe in my lifetime. And what did you say when you were driving in the rain?
Yeah, so I called him and I was like, where's this water going to go?
Where's this water? Like, she goes, I would just drive in the rain.
The leaves are going to pile up, and I know the calls are going to be coming in.
That's funny.
I've never taken pictures of trash cans around different downtown areas to say, this is a really cool trash can.
That's really
Sullivan might
funny.
need this. So, yeah, my photo gallery on my phone is a little bit different than probably most people.
How many times have we drove through another city? Jamie, I'm driving. Grab a phone. Get a picture of that. Look at that tree over there. That looks beautiful. We need to do that back home.
Pulling over on the side of the road, doing all that, asking the kids to look for certain stuff.
Well, I'll never forget the day you were mayor. Jamie was working at a place called the Coffee Cabin. And Clint, it's a true story. Clint calls me on my cell phone. I'm over there. He says, John, I'm looking for someone to work in the office with me. Do you know anybody who can type and be like a secretary / helper? I said, I got the perfect girl right here. And it was Jamie. And so he said, can she come over for an interview? And I said, well, I'll ask her. And Jamie
To work in the mayor's office. I wasn't interviewing wives at the time, okay? Full disclosure.
And so I told Jamie, I said, hey, if you're looking for, to get another job, this is an opportunity. Jamie was very excited about it. And, 2 weeks later, they're married. But here's the deal.
No, not even close.
No, but here it was. It was a wonderful thing that happened. And Jamie got involved, and she was very good help. And then, she's been a supportive help all this time. I mean, how big a support has she been for you, Clint? I mean, can you even put it into words?
Oh, no. I mean, words can't describe it. Obviously, when you had called me and you'd mentioned her and we were talking back and forth, I said, well, I know of her. I said, they have the coffee cabin. I said, I know her older brothers. I said, the twins, they were a couple years younger than me. I think they had a little sister. And of course, I knew Cassie and this and that. So she came in. Georgia Bowles actually made the big recommendation. Georgia Bowles was working in the mayor's office. And she goes, I don't know. I know you've interviewed a few people, but that's the gal you want right there. She'll be great at it. And she came in. We chatted. And, over time, I could start a sentence and she could finish it. Or I would come in and say, hey, we need to get a hold of Mayor so-and-so over in, you name the city or whatever. The email's already sent.
Sure.
I've already been set up. And it was a great relationship. And then just over time, I couldn't keep her away from me, John. I mean,
I don't know if that's how it went. It's your story. So.
yeah, it's my story, right? But no, just over time, and then after a while, as the relationship blossomed, I said, this might not be a good idea. You know, you hear about stories of nepotism and this
Right.
and that all over the country, whatever. Well, we were kind of doing the opposite, like maybe we should go a different direction. So then she left the city, but she might have left physically City Hall, but she definitely carries the city with her. She's a great ambassador for the City of Sullivan. You know, she's not just the mayor's wife, she's a partner.
Sure.
She loves this community.
Sure.
You know, John, we're going to talk about the Christmas going on in the downtown, and one of the things that Jamie led a charge on was the socks for kids at the skating rink. So she's the ice skating rink. She's done so many things like that, and just I'll be honest with you, I don't know. She's my Wonderwall, right? I don't know what I'd have done without her.
Sure.
We just kind of came together at a time in our lives, and it really helped us. I'll never forget when I was considering running for a third term, and we were having talks and we were praying about it and things like that. And she says, she goes, if you want to go on to the next chapter, I'll go along with you. But if you want to stay here and fight this crazy fight with the city you love, then I'm going to stay here and fight with you. And I'm like, let's do this one more round. So we ran for a third term. It's been great the last 12 years. And of course, 9 years working together as partners. So,
But there's more than you two in the house. There, when you got married, you have all these kids, and how soon was it that you got them involved in what you did? I mean, did they want to get involved right away, or was it a while?
Kennedy was in a pumpkin seat on Brian Harkey's float when he was running for Congress years ago. So I'd say they really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Kennedy and Dawson especially, they were kind of born into this. Hadley Rose, that's all she knows.
Okay.
And then Jocelyn and Nevaeh, whenever they came into the house, they were asked by other kids.
Yeah. So you live at the mayor's house, so you probably get all the free chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
Free chicken nuggets, right?
It's not city
That would be a
limits,
big
so.
deal. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah. So no, it's been great.
That's awesome.
They've enjoyed some of the things. They're probably tired of Dad walking around saying, "Look at this, look at this, look at this." They're like, "Yeah, we get it." But they love Sullivan, and one thing we've tried to do is teach our kids that this is so much bigger than the mayor's office. It's so much bigger than the City of Sullivan. It truly is about. We laugh at the hashtag and the taking time to care, but it really is. It's putting others first, and that's why we decided to continue to run. And then with this potential fourth term, we just had to come to a decision where we had to put the kids first. And
Right.
it was a family discussion, lots of laughs, lots of talks back and forth, a few tears shed. Few times, are you sure you really don't want to do this again? Are you sure you're going to be okay to walk away? So we've had those conversations. But yeah, no, the kids have been great. And quite frankly, the kids have been put in some bad positions. I hate to say it, but just because of decisions maybe their dad made or politics or whatever, they've taken some shots.
Gotcha.
And they've had to come home and ask, what does this term mean? And I'm like, well, obviously we're not that, because you would already know what that is. But just the ignorance and basically, unfortunately, some of the national dialogue has trickled into Sullivan Middle School and Sullivan High School, and then your kids get blasted with it. So I can't sit here and say it's all been wine and roses,
Rainbows and bullfrogs.
Yes.
Exactly.
No, but they've done well. They blended very well. Honestly, this would have never worked if our kids didn't get along and support the.
Right.
Yeah, you always hear the horror stories about the blended families, this and that. I can honestly say that you can't tell the difference between any of them, and they've got each other's back to a fault. They won't snitch on each other, is what they say, where we have to choke it up. I mean, pat them on the back and strongly encourage them to share what's going on in the household. So, but yeah, definitely, it's been a great ride there for them as well. But last Thanksgiving, kind of in closing on the kids subject, last Thanksgiving is when we kind of made our final decision. And Dawson came home from college, and we all sat down and they all said, we talked about next chapter and different opportunities that could be coming up. And they all literally said, we wish you could do both.
Yeah.
We wish you could do things and move forward, but yet we also wish you could stay in the mayor's office. And that meant a lot to me, because they knew how much the mayor's office meant to me and how much the City of Sullivan did. And it became, they've adopted it as theirs as well. So to to see that, but I said, unfortunately, that's not the way life works.
Yeah.
The mayor's office is not a full-time job. It's a 24-hour, 7 days a week life. I always said being the mayor's not your job. Being the mayor is who you are. You're the mayor at church. You're the mayor at the ball game. You're the mayor at Baszler's grocery store in line. You're the mayor at 11:30 at night when you're trying to sleep or somebody's banging on your door. Or one of my wife's favorite stories is in the summertime when I'm outside and she hears
The lawnmower stop.
Oh.
Then you always know somebody's pulled up, and I love it, and I just sit inside and laugh. But I did buy him Beats.
or she bangs on the window and waves at me as I'm getting whatever.
While I have you here.
Well, I have you here. Well, you don't have me here. I'm in my house, but okay.
I'm going to ask you both the same question. I'm interested, and I'll give you my answer too. I'll start with you, Clint. What do you think is the one thing that you're the proudest of in your 12 years here? Accomplishment or just something? What's the one thing that really sticks in your mind that you're the proudest of?
Gosh, we have a whole list of accomplishments, right? And it's taken a team to do that. We've had so many different people, department heads. We've had our employees, we've had our staff, we've had citizens, we've had volunteers, board members, the Heart of Sullivan, all these things that have come together to make these tangible projects a reality, whether it's the Civic Center, whether it's the plaza, tearing down the school, paving streets, trails, the Sullivan City Pool, eliminating eyesores, privatizing trash service to make a more efficient service. There's so many things that I can honestly say it was never about just one project. Because at the end of the day, it's not like, well, this one thing, once we get this done, everything's going to be great.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just not the way it works.
Yeah.
It's literally putting all the pieces together. If you take one or two of these out of the equation, none of this really matters.
Right.
But, I can't really point to a tangible project. I was good, man. Let's give me a second. People started caring again.
Yeah. That was the answer I was going to give. You gave us a reason to love our community again. And I think that's what really happened over these last 12 years. Because one thing did lead to another, Clint. The Civic Center led to the downtown. Downtown led to the new swimming pool. Sidewalks are going to put it all together. I mean, one thing did lead to another. But I think you got so many people now that love this community that maybe didn't
There you
before.
go. People were told they were poor.
Yeah.
They were told it was over. You had seen population decline for 37 straight years. The AV had dropped. You were the 91st unhealthiest county out of 92 counties. You were living in a state where teens, the second largest in the country, where teens had considered suicide. You talk about just not an impoverished area, but a mentally impoverished. They were told that it was over. They were told that it couldn't happen. They would spend money to go on vacation and think, well, that can only happen somewhere else, and that's why I have to leave. So at the end of the day, whether you loved me, whether you hated me, whether you supported the city, whether you always agreed on the projects, you now believe that good things can happen even in Sullivan.
Yeah.
Right? Things that were unimaginable. You would have never thought. I remember the laughter and the snickers when we first came in office, and our transition team set an agenda, and we wanted to do this and we wanted to do that, and we put together the first comprehensive master plan since 1945, right?
Yeah.
It was updated in 1968. So I apologize. I'm feeling
Yeah.
better now.
Yeah. Well,
I
good,
knew that was
good.
going to happen eventually. I'm good to go. But at the end of the day, people believed.
Yeah. And man,
And they fell in love with this city just like I love this city. Now, on the other side of that, one of the biggest disappointments is I thought everybody loved Sullivan like I did.
right.
Growing up in a family inspired by my grandparents who just loved this community, who chose to stay here. I talked about the foster kids that they raised for over 30 years, the community service groups that they were in, active in the church, active in the Legion, active in the community theater, and they loved Sullivan, period. And that's the family I grew up in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought everybody loved it like we did. And then I come to find out there are a lot of great people out there, and they do love their community. But there are a lot of folks I realized over the years, what's in it for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's in it for them? So not to go negative, but that was probably one of the most disappointing and disheartening things. You know, you asked about the accomplishments that people started loving again and they started caring. So I always challenge folks, whether they love the city, to strengthen that love, or I invited them to fall in love with it for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I heard another mayor-elect the other day. I overheard a conversation. They were talking with somebody and they said, "Are you married? Are you married yet?" And they said, "I'm married to this city." And my wife has shared me, and our family has sacrificed and shared, because it is a marriage. It's something that you can't separate. You don't go to City Hall 8 to 4 and call it a day and go home. So one of obviously the most difficult decisions of my life was to not seek a fourth term.
Yes.
And it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's so much better off for our family. It's so much better off in so many ways, but yet it was still so hard.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
How about you, Jamie? What do you think the number one thing sticks out in your mind?
I would say the bathrooms at the city park. No, I'm kidding.
Because it's the only place in town that I have my name on.
Oh, okay.
That's a story in itself. When you pee, think of me. Right?
It's not a city.
That's
We're not.
hilarious. That's hilarious. I love that. Okay.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with him with just the community and the essence that you feel every day. I mean, I enjoy the different events that have come up over his whole term in office, different things that have come up, and how the community always seems to rally around one another in the good times and the bad times, the tornado, but yet Christmas on the square. So you get all of these things going, and I do attribute 100% to Clint. I mean, he couldn't do it. He has a whole team of people. Obviously, there's people in the audience and on Facebook. He couldn't do it by himself. He couldn't do it without me.
Sure.
Amen. The quote of the show, for sure.
Well, you're absolutely right about
But
that.
I mean, it's been a journey. It's been an adventure. We've all cried and we've
Just
all
like
laughed.
this morning. And she makes fun of me. We got hard-hearted Hannah sitting here, and she's like, "Oh, you're going to cry again," you know.
Yeah.
I'm the
It's
emotional
part
one
of
of the
it.
relationship.
But no, I've enjoyed it, and I'll continue to do whatever I can to support him, to support our family, and to support the community. So I think
that the thing that really stands out to me is that you had all this stuff you're doing your first 11 years, and you're busy and driving, going everywhere to help this city out in any way you can. And then March 31st, maybe the biggest tragedy hit our community with the tornado. I mean, it just floored all of us. And I know we're not nearly done with this, and I know this is something that's going to have to be dealt with for a couple of years to come. But man, I was impressed how you, Jim Pirtle for sure, his department, so many people jumped in, so many volunteers jumped in, but that had to be, I don't know what was going through your mind, Clint, at that time, but what
We could definitely do an entire show on that chapter alone. Quite frankly, it was tough emotionally, but you just kind of dive into mayor mode. All the training that AIM has done over the years. I remember when I went to mayor school, which there's the new mayor school next week that Mayor-elect Wilson will be attending. I never forget, they had the city of Napanee up there giving a presentation on the tornado. And I remember Mayor Goodnight giving a presentation on his tornado. And I remember seeing people from Henryville give presentations. And you think to yourself, you're sitting out there, that's great. I'm glad how they rallied, but what are the chances of that happening here? So to know that AIM, of course, that's one of my next steps, and the relationships and that education, it kicked in. Now, there's no cookie cutter way to handle it. You just step in and you just lead and you just take care of people. And I'm not saying that it was a huge deal, but quite frankly, handling it was no different than we've handled so many other tragedies. I don't want to use the word tragedy. So many other issues that could have become major catastrophes that were nipped in the bud before the public ever knew about it.
I see.
I've always said that we just showcased, now it was open to the world, what we were dealing with every single day.
Yes.
The staff that's sitting here in the room today, we are always just a couple steps away of something catastrophe. Whether it's our fire department, our first responders, making sure they have the equipment they need, the pay that they need, the equipment they need, the staffing that they need, and truly back the blue, not just talk about it. Truly making sure they're funded, because you don't know when that next catastrophe is going to happen.
Right.
I mean, especially during that tornado. Not to go down this path, but thank goodness for surrounding counties.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for other cities that sent police and sent emergency personnel here to set up a round-the-clock area to be able to to patrol down there when there was no lights and there was stuff everywhere, and the curfew, so to speak. Because quite frankly, we didn't have the staffing to do that. And if that tornado did not open our eyes and teach us a lesson, then I don't know what in the world ever will.
You're right.
And if that didn't show leadership in this county and all over that this is important, whether it's a fire in Carlisle, whether it's a fire here in the city, whether it's the city police happen to go somewhere else to respond, hopefully you would think that tornado not only revealed what the mayor's office deals with every day in loving and take care of people, but definitely our first responders. So there's kind of a impromptu plug for that, for sure, to make sure that they have the support and the everything that they need. But yeah, like I said, we could do an entire show about that. But the biggest thing was we didn't do anything different than we hadn't been doing for the last 12 years. Mm-hmm. What we said in this room and press conferences and the way we taught and had that dialogue and conversation with our friends in the media to continue to make sure Sullivan stayed in the spotlight. And had we not stayed in the spotlight, quite frankly, we would not have got the resources that we got. Being boots on the ground, juggling media relations, and then having the private conversations with the governor, having private conversations with the White House, which Jamie and I just had the pleasure just last week to meet Evan Wessel, who was our contact in the Biden administration. We were in Atlanta, and we met with him, and I, shocker, teared up, had goosebumps, and the guy shook my hand. I said, "I'm giving you a hug." I said, "This is coming from Sullivan."
Yeah.
And so those experiences and those things that, it's just politics and we're doing this. Thank goodness we did the networking over the years. Thank goodness we put the people in place to be able to take care of a situation like that.
And I think that's been probably maybe the most important part of your time being mayor is the networking that you did, because as you just said, that led to contacts to get a lot of things done. We've had some grants that have been very nice to get some things done, but it's through networking, hasn't it?
A lot of it, yeah, it's relationships. But you also find out, and here's my shout out to the fellow mayors out there, the ones that I guarantee are tuning in this morning. They might have even commented. I'm sure it's hard telling what they said, but nobody understands this position. Mm-hmm. I can't compare this to anything. I can't, I went to school to be a teacher, didn't want to teach. I've done different things over my life, but I can't compare this to anything else. And nobody really understands a mayor like another mayor. Mm-hmm. And that support system, that brotherhood and sisterhood of mayors is remarkable. Mm-hmm. And you learn a lot at a conference, but even just the small round tables in Southern Indiana or going to Northern Indiana or whatever the facts and case may be. And then when everybody leaves the room and it's you and three mayors, and you go through your therapy sessions. Now, I must say that usually when my story from Sullivan came up, 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "You can't make this up," right? We would all give these similar scenarios, but they're just like, "Wow, you're dealing with that." Yeah. But anyway, that's once again another topic another time. So, no, that has been probably the biggest support of the Indiana Conference of Mayors. And we've got 47 new mayors coming in this year. So being able to help transition some of those around the state, that's going to be looking forward to that.
Do you want to get to some topics here that we want to get to or is there anything else you want to get into?
Yeah, I would hate for Mrs. Lamb to have to leave the show, but like I said, she's got to get to work and make sure that you come in and make your deposits today and take care of all of your banking through the lovely
Thank
Jamie.
You, Jamie.
So.
Well, yes, it was a pleasure.
Why don't you finish out? Closing final thoughts.
Oh, well, I'll let you talk about all the events, but Christmas on the Square, it's very important to me, obviously, in the community, in the heart of Sullivan, and everybody that attributes to that. So that will be my last little plug coming up here in a couple weeks. But I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yes. Been a
And,
pleasure. Should have done this a long time ago.
Well, she always tunes in and
I
comments.
do. Good morning. Yeah, so I can say it in person now.
Yeah.
Well, you've had the girls on your show,
Yes.
so we've known each other for a long time.
we
and-
have. It's been awesome.
And it's been a pleasure to work with you and to be married to this guy and
Yes.
be a part
A
of
pleasure.
a pleasure. Today, it's a pleasure right now.
You know,
no.
this is the only show we've ever done where Clint's not the best looking guy up on the stage. Now you're the best looking person. Yeah. So you
go.
take
Thank you.
you take a second step back, Clint.
There you go.
No, thank you, and I'll let you finish your show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bird.
All right, there's the first lady right there, Jamie Lamb. Thank you, Jamie.
Bye,
And
John.
we appreciate everything she's done to help Clint out. And you know, Clint, let me ask you this before we get to our topics. Everybody knows J.D. Wilson's the new mayor coming up in January.
Yep.
You've worked with him for a while now. You know him probably better than anybody as far as the public is concerned. What makes you think J.D. really will do a really good job for us?
80% of it is caring. Well, will his leadership style be the same as mine? Probably not. Our personalities aren't the same.
Right.
My wife and I aren't 100% the same.
Right.
So many things are definitely not the same. But between any individual,
Yeah.
Move over. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Get your butt over here. But here's what I've told him many times before: if you love the city, and if you care, you'll find a way to make it work. Will it always go exactly the way you set it up, or the way you envisioned it, or the way you planned it? No, nothing ever does, right? But at the end of the day, just caring. I mean, genuinely, like passionate. That's going to be the difference maker there. So.
Yes, yeah. He has all of our support, and we wish JD the very best. And,
Absolutely.
And look forward to working with him over the next 4, hopefully 8 years, maybe 12 years with him too. That'd be awesome.
We take it a day at a time, John, in this office for sure, because, you know, it's one of these things that, and I've heard Matt Greller, our executive director of AIM, put it this way, and there's no better way to, in the mayor's office, and what he's going to find out is it's one of the only political, so to speak, positions where when you wake up in the morning and you have a problem and you walk into City Hall 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time, a lot of times you can have that problem taken care of by 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. You know, the little things that pop up. You know, when you're in the legislature or you're a congressman or whatever, those are long-term ideology, philosophical issues, but the mayors can make an impact directly. Now, not all those problems can you solve, but a lot of times, you know, being able to take care of something, you can pretty much get on top of it and make that executive decision and get it taken care of. So, I guess my biggest piece of advice was pay attention to the details. Mm-hmm. The staff has probably heard me say that so many times where they're so sick of it, like, don't have just a bunch of purple flowers over here. Be sure to put in some white ones as well, because mm-hmm. white captures your eye and it pops. And it's, make sure we don't just wrap the poles in the green. Make sure there's lights, make sure there's a red bow or whatever. It's all those little details that come together. And sometimes I think mayors get so into the overall big picture, or they get too deep into the weeds. Mm-hmm. And it's that healthy balance that you can build multi-million-dollar projects. I mean, the incoming administration's got us a $14 million housing project they're going to have to navigate through. Unfortunately, the hotel has hit another snag as far as development. It's going to continue to move forward, but just different folks of the professional team are starting to shift and change. So we can give updates on that, at a different time before we leave office. But so we're going to have to navigate through that in the future. You're going to have more homes that are going to continue to come down. New home construction will continue, and some things that have already been locked in, like the trail system to the lake and things. I mean, he's going to have a full plate, and the whole team's going to have a full plate to keep the progress moving forward. But that's what was so important. It was so much more than me. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like you come in and you become a mayor and you start working on community development, and at the end of 12 years, well, we did it. Everything's fine now. Mm-hmm. Community development is always it's ongoing, mm-hmm. right? It's not like you just do it and it's over. I mean, you have to make updates to WNDI, right? You have to update your technology, right. Your towers or whatever. It's not like you and Teresa just bought the thing in '94 and now everything's still running the same. Things have changed, things have evolved, and that's the same way in our community. So that's one thing that I'm excited about is my love for Sullivan is still there, and I get to help in a different way.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the title of mayor
to
genuinely take time to care or do something. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, you got a couple of things we probably should get to.
Yeah. No, I appreciated the show, so much, and I've appreciated the support of the public for all these years, because quite frankly, we couldn't have done it without you. Mm-hmm. And I can sincerely say each and every day, whether you were having a good day or whether you were having a bad day, and my staff can tell you that I've had my ups and downs. Some day it comes in, we're ready to roll. And the next day I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here?
Sure.
So you've had to struggle through that. But each and every day, when I get up, we look in the mirror, and you just have to pump yourself up and say, we're going to make a difference today. Mm-hmm. If we could just move the ball just a little bit further, then at the end of the day, there's no cure-all. You can't make everybody's problems go away, but at the end of the day, if you can impact the widow that needs that couch picked up, mm-hmm. if you can impact the family that's lived across from this abandoned eyesore and structure for all these years and seen public safety put at risk. We just had an issue just this week with a trailer that has been kind of back and forth on our list of nuisance properties, and where folks might say, well, the mayor and the administration are picking on us or this or that. Well, case in point, now a fire happens, but you've got to be able to forecast that and see these things. It's not just about eliminating a piece of property that doesn't look good. You go back and look at the emergency logs. How many times have the police been there? How many times has the fire department had to go there? Was there somebody living there? Now they weren't living there. How long did it sit abandoned? How many rodents and raccoons and whatever were there? How many times did the street department have to go out and mow that lot and then tear up a lawnmower that the taxpayers had to come in and take care of? John, you just drive by a house. Mm-hmm. John Q. Public drives by the house and says, that looks bad. Mm-hmm. But I just sit there in a quick 30-second one breath of it is so much more complicated. And one of the frustrations is you can't govern by a tweet. You don't govern on social media, right? These are everyday lives. These are real people that you have to step up and you take care of and you keep them in your heart. So just some thoughts on there. But as of always, John, we always talk about community events, kind of coming up because those are really important. Do have a few notes here that while we were kind of talking about public safety, be sure the Jonah Fish Fry at the Sullivan City Fire Department, located 32 North Court Street, going on Saturday, December 2nd. That's tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 7. Dine in, carry out, free local delivery, and come see for yourself quite frankly, some of the unfortunate circumstances that our first responders have had to live with in their temporary fire station that was temporary from 1984 to the present. So hopefully we can come together as a community, as a county, as a township, as a city, and as the citizens to make sure that they get not just a new facility, a new building, but also sustainability. It's so much more than just a building, that we make sure that our citizens are safe and protected in the future. It's another part of community development. Yeah. Then, of course, Bird, she spoke about the downtown Christmas, and she got the name Bird because she's Mama Bird, and we watched an LBJ movie one time, and
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
yeah, that too, and so there's a lot there, but that's Bird, that's my bird. And the downtown Christmas, the Heart of Sullivan, that's another huge accomplishment there. And it wasn't just, we had the vision to bring in a Main Street group, and then so many people in the Heart of Sullivan, the Burkhards, the Pearsons, and so many others that have come and gone from that organization over the years. And I don't want to start naming names on this show today, John. That's why we didn't have a bunch of guests, because I thought, how do I say thank you to everybody? And I didn't want to bring just one person on and then leave anybody out. But the downtown Christmas is going on, I believe, December 16th and 17th in downtown Sullivan. Come see Santa Claus. Come ride the. If somebody could confirm those dates for me, I think it is the 15th and 16th, Friday, December 15th. Speaking of misinformation, and Saturday the 16th in downtown Sullivan. Different places will be open for different activities for the kids. Come ride horse carriage rides, ice skating. So many different things going on. I don't want to mention them all. Go to the Heart of Sullivan Facebook page and see all the different businesses, organizations that are going to showcase why Sullivan Special is more than a hashtag, and feeling good to be here, feels good to be here in downtown is so much more than a hashtag. It's special. It's Sullivan Special during the Christmas season, and one of the things I'm really excited about coming up. I also know next month is the Snowball. I'm not even going to give you a date on that, but the Sullivan Snowball is coming up next month, in the month of January. Be sure to go to the Facebook page on that. And that is an annual fundraiser for our Sullivan City Pool. So we talk about how sustainability is so important, right? Not just building the pool, not just building the fire station, then everything's hunky-dory. Mm-hmm. It takes maintenance, it takes staffing, it takes all these things. So be sure to check that out. And also this year, for the first time in a long time, that I can remember, Christmas in the Sullivan City Park, and it's looking beautiful down there. Our staff has done an amazing job down at the city park. If you go down, they've wrapped some of the lights, they've decorated. There's an entrance when you come in, and I know there's several volunteers that have come together to do Christmas in the park, and I think they're decorating different stations down there.
Nice.
Also wanted to mention Christmas for Sullivan. You can drop off items at the fire station. Be sure to check that out on social media. Also wanted to give a shout out. Want to thank you to Elena.
Yes.
You know, I've always said we might not be able to run city government or the dam, but one thing we do, that's eat. We do it well. We do it very well. So we have the city chef, Elena, / special projects coordinator. Thanks for putting all this together today. And Casey's.
Yes.
Casey's gas station donated some pizza,
yes.
Some breakfast pizza here this morning. Because, you know, a couple years on the show, we kind of tried to do breakfast with the mayor.
Yes.
I knew it was going to be tough to eat today on this show, so I'm gonna dive right into this when we get off the air. But thank you to Casey's for donating that breakfast pizza this morning, and also kind of back on the tornado thing. Mm-hmm. I also want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Richard Payonk, who I'd met over the years in my travels and working with folks here in the Wabash Valley. And he was actually the executive director of the United Way. And he has a huge heart. He did a great job leading that organization. And then he stepped up in such a big way. You talk about what leadership did at the initial hours of the tornado, but this is genuinely about long-term recovery. And so huge thank you to all of the volunteers that didn't just step up on March 31st, but that are here on December 1st, that are still engaged, that are still putting in their time and effort. A lot of folks came on board at first. Mm-hmm. Some of them have gone away, but we still have a solid group of volunteers that have navigated through the finances, through the emotions, through the social media attacks, through everything, but they've stayed the course. And I want to thank Richard for his service of stepping in and being a volunteer, and a director of this organization. And also a big thank you to Troy Orwig. I sent an email out the other day thanking Richard, and I apologize I omitted Troy, but I wanted to make sure that the folks in the community know that Troy Orwig, who's been a upstanding citizen for many, many years in the community, he's stepping up in a big way. So as Richard steps aside to make sure that this effort goes forward, I mentioned the United Way. I mentioned Richard's former relationship with the United Way, and actually big thank you to the United Way for stepping up with, I believe, a $2.7 million injection of assistance for the tornado victims. John, you remember the back and forth of, well, just take the $1 million and divide it up. Remember how we said that, and then we figured everybody got $4,000. Mm-hmm. And then after taxes, you cleared about $3,000. And we could debate this all day long. I understand folks needed it at the time. But had they taken the easy route and done that, we would have not have had this opportunity through the VOAD national format and the local coalition to be able to leverage that money, just like we've done in the city for years. We've taken this shoestring budget, just thread the needle, and we've been able to leverage for bigger dollars in the tornado folks. So a big shout out to them, the Sullivan County Long-Term Recovery Tornado Coalition. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mr. Payong, for that. So a few things that I definitely wanted to mention. And back on the Christmas in the City Park, Sullivan City Park crafts, photos with Santa, cookies, voting for People's Choice for the best Christmas tree. That's going to be Saturday, December the 9th, 2 p.m. Santa arrives again. Live nativity from 6 to 9, and the judging of Christmas trees at 8:30. So that's what the City of Sullivan, the Park Board, the Partners for a Drug-Free Sullivan County, and Mental Health America of West Central Indiana. So kind of a plug to that. That's all the notes really I have as far as upcoming events. But anything else that we didn't talk about?
I want to say one thing. I don't know if it was our first show or our second show, but it was in our early shows. I remember when I said, Clint, what was the first thing that you thought of when you became mayor? And you said, John, don't you remember where Sullivan Furniture is? We had a stop sign in the middle of Section Street.
The stop barrel.
Yeah, we didn't have lights there at the time. Well, they were not working. And when you took over, that's what you had to deal with. And then obviously that was a minor problem compared to what you were dealing with after that. But I'll always remember how you thought, we didn't even have a stoplight working.
Yeah. If you remember, I think before we took office, a semi had come through and taken out the light. And with depreciation of infrastructure, another show in itself, quite frankly, the insurance did not cover what it would be to replace. So to give credit to the previous administration, they had started the process with some grant dollars from NDOT to get that, and then we were able to come in and finish it out. Yeah, but it's funny, Brad Ellsworth, our former congressman, I saw him recently, and he says, one thing I'll always remember about Sullivan, I remember coming and seeing the stop barrel. The stop barrel at the section, or at the corner of Section and West Washington, and now with a stoplight there, and now a trail going through there and with lights, and just the transformation. And sometimes I forget, and this is one thing I forgot to mention when Jamie was here on the show with me. She talked about her travels, but I can't tell you the countless hours of traveling these city streets. And the hours that she's had to listen as we get our coffee on Saturday mornings or whatever, or it might be 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday night when let's just go for a ride around the city. And we would go through street by street. We would drive up and down alleys, and we would just notice things. We would take notes, and she's sitting over there on her phone trying to keep notes, or, hey, send me a text to remind me of this. So, just those countless hours of literally going up and down every city street, and the conversations and quite frankly, we talked about reflecting on this show today, but John, there's so many things that I forget even.
Yes.
It's been 12 years, and we'll be driving through a neighborhood, and she'll say, well, we've torn down this one, and see that new house over there. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot that was there. Hundreds of sidewalks that have been poured. Miles of streets that have been paved that I forgot that already need to be repaved again, some of them. We paved the square. That was one of the first things. That was huge. Hadn't been paved in 30 or 40 years. Yeah. And now the north side even has that, issue there. So some of those things, of the paving, the things, quite frankly, that I just forgot. But it was those little things that came together.
It's always the little things.
It really is.
Yeah, that make the biggest difference.
And one of the things that we're most proud of is the stormwater utility and just being able to put in catch basins. And while the sewer has its woes, we for the first time in a long time, we started making long-term investments, and it cost a lot of money. And I'm not quite sure in the future how the city, just be very frank, infrastructure is such a big deal in America, and it's been abandoned and left behind for so long that it's going to be a challenge to the future administration and administrations to be able to keep up with sewer separation and the old clay tiles and the bricks that are literally falling beneath us. But we were able to not just make patchwork, we were able to make some long-term decisions, but it's definitely going to be a challenge going forward. It's not like, we're going to leave the city in pretty good shape, but the city, like ourselves, is going to continue to age physically. So we're going to have to make some serious investments down the road in those areas as well.
I want to say another thing, too. Brandy Wolf just reminded me there is a Christmas lighting contest that the Chamber has teamed up with Heart of Sullivan with.
Great.
So starting on December the 5th, and it runs throughout a few weeks in December. So get on the Facebook page for the Chamber of Commerce. They'll tell you all about it, how you get involved in it. There'll be prizes given out. So,
awesome.
So it's a contest. So
awesome.
If you have not done that, please do so. Contact the Chamber or anybody at Heart of Sullivan. They can definitely tell you all the details.
Also, I know we have another event coming up, I believe, for the Sullivan County CEO program. I believe that is what it's for. It's Dancing with the Stars. So,
okay.
Dancing with the Stars. I'm not sure what the date is on that. We'll get a shout out from the crowd.
January 19th.
January 19th. Yeah. We're coming to you live before a live studio audience today. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody in the back. When we sent like a calendar invite, I just meant for people to tune on the show. I didn't know everybody was going to show up here today. So, once again, that is a prime example of the folks that are literally behind the camera, the folks that are literally behind the scenes. They make me look good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
when they just do it, they just do their jobs, and I'm going to miss them.
Yes.
I'm going to miss working with them, but they know where to find me. 114 South Court Street, to be honest with you, to talk about next steps as we close the show.
Yeah.
Really excited for my family and I. You know, everybody's been asking, what are you going to do from here moving forward? We're going to be doing a lot of things, and we're going to be doing a lot of community development, grant administrative work, streetscape work, and just basically being able to do on a much grander scale of helping all communities. John, one of my next steps, I've always been bragging on the organization of the Accelerate Indiana Municipalities AIM, and I'm really excited and honored to be selected with Mayor Joe from the City of Warsaw. We're two former mayors. We were both elected in 2011, and starting January 1st, we will become ambassadors. So we will represent all cities and towns across Indiana. I believe we have around 470 some, give or take a few, municipalities that we represent. We represent them at the State House, making sure that there's positive legislation that can continue to help Indiana cities and towns grow. Believe it or not, 70% of Hoosiers live in an incorporated city or town. I know we think of Indiana as cornfields and this and that and unincorporated areas, but actually 70% of Hoosiers live in a city or town, and they are the economic drivers. We are the economic engines. We have the most infrastructure, but at the end of the day, it's where the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation, and quite frankly, what we talked about here in Sullivan, that sparking of love. Places that we live, places that we worship, places that we raise our families, and quite frankly, places that, like I said, that we love, and that we love and love in. And it's just it's a exciting opportunity to be able to move forward there. When I mentioned I'd purchased off Steve and Jill Anderson, many people know Doc Henderson was in the eye doctor's office at 114 South Court Street for many years, and then Steve Anderson was there, so was able to work something out with them, and my family and I, we acquired that building. So stay tuned for updates there. We've been asking folks for the last 12 years to please invest in downtown Sullivan, and you know what? We're going to put our money where our mouth is, or our credit where our mouth is, and make that investment. So full disclosure, the city did not purchase this building. The grant did not purchase this building. This is a private investment in the downtown area. So we'd like to do historic preservation there. We're going to have some office space for myself, office space for maybe some others, and some potential apartments or Airbnbs, whatever. Believe it or not, we do have a lot of folks that transit that come in and out of the community, and we'd like to try to keep them in the downtown area. So we're going to continue to invest in this community. We're going to continue to love this community and literally invest ourselves in this building. So be sure to watch for updates there as well.
Well, as we wrap it up, it's been a pleasure of mine to be able to work with you, Clint. These 10 years of putting on the monthly chat with the mayor, as I told you off the air before we started, it's just been one of the great joys that we've had here on WNDI. It's been so fulfilling for us to be able to be on a show to tell people what's going on. And I don't know how many people have come up to you and me and how they enjoy watching it or listening to it over these years. And it's been a very informative show, and I've enjoyed it, and I thank you for taking the time each month to do it, Clint.
Well, no, we'll kind of wrap this thing up. I'm seeing if there was any comments at all. I'm not sure anything, questions or comments that anybody see that we need to address. Okay.
29th of December, you'll administer the oath.
Okay, yeah. We'll invite the public. Good call there. We're wrapping things up. So on December 29th, we'd like to invite the folks up here to come to City Hall. It'll be the inauguration of the next administration coming in. So, yeah, I have the privilege and honor to be able to swear in the city council that's going to be coming in for their next term, and also our clerk treasurer, Sue Pitts. I don't think I technically am supposed to swear in the incoming mayor, but somebody will be here, and I will be here with him that day as well. Okay. So that is December 29th. Be sure to continue to follow the City of Sullivan social media page, Sullivan Daily Times, any type of update, whatever, in whatever capacity. Be sure to join us for that. So, John, my feelings are the same.
Yes.
Brother, this has been a great show. It's been a great run. We've had a great time. I wish I could mention everybody that's been there for me to help me and supported the show, watched the show. Hugs and kisses to you. Thank you so much. Actually in '94, John, I was sitting with you at the ball games.
Yes.
Headsets on.
Yes,
so this has been kind of a long time.
Yes.
Then we kind of did it officially. So appreciate you, brother. You're one of my best buddies of all time.
Absolutely.
Yes, and really enjoyed the show. Really enjoyed the run. So Once again, I know I've repeated myself so many times and said it, but we'll kind of wrap this up now. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting the show, supporting this administration. We're here till December 31st officially. A lot of people say, when are you over? When is it done? And it's December 31st that night, and then Mayor-elect Wilson will take over on January 1st. But it's been a hell of a run. We're going to have a great time. We're going to finish strong, pedal to the metal, and then I'm looking forward to continuing to advocate for this community, because I don't need the title of mayor to genuinely love and continue to support and push this community. And I'm really excited as a citizen to see what we have in store. So God bless you. Thank you so much.
For the final time, this is our monthly chat with the mayor right here on WNDI. Thank you for listening. Let's go back to our studio.